Hey, howdy folks. This is Babbaginator. We're back in Long Dark, currently hanging out at the, where are we? Pleasant Valley Homestead. Okay, we're trying to decide what we're doing next. So let's see, last we left off, we are hungry, but it's morning. I think we've abandoned well fed. We'll keep that for Hey Roar, good to see you.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Trying to decide if we want to change up our background. Put it over to my fantasy background. But yeah, thankfully I'm not on the coast proper. You know, I am in Vancouver, but not on the coast. If I were still on UBC campus, I'd be closer to the coast. But I'm inland a little bit. So it's unlikely that we'll be hit by anything over here. Let's see here. That's a little weird here. Okay. Look, my sounds. Hold on here for a second. I'm gonna try something. Yeah, okay, it's weird, but I'll take it. Here we go. Mending's at 3. We've guts and we have hide. I'm debating if we should make some fishing line here.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Oh, we can make a hat. Maybe we should do that. Yeah. So how was your day, Roller? What were you up to? Mine was pretty okay. Spent a good chunk of the day. It was a simple task. Officially, it was supposed to be a simple task. It was not. For one of our projects that I'm working on, we rely on these data sets that are straight from the web, and moving from one particular, I don't know how to describe it, data pool to another.
I'm not going to be able to carry this
Format
load for
is
much longer.
different. It's supposed to be more exhaustive in terms of the information it holds, but the downside is that each social media platform it tracks is recorded very differently. So what had worked before, because it was pulling from one data pool that covered all the different platforms, no longer worked when I had to deal with each of the platforms separately and all their separate field and column names that were different. They're just not consistent at all. So that was a bit of a headache to get it working again. But it's working. I just have to do a little bit of cleanup on the last step so that I have a version of the produce a data set that just has the fields they want, while preserving like these backup copies that have everything. Yeah.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
But I guess the other bit of good news was I finished on Monday. I finished working on this big research project. Where I had to annotate a bunch of different files, and so the first pass is done, which is really the part that I needed to do for my research project, my part of the research project, and then there's some additional research I can do, but it's not what's essential. What was our plan here? We already did that. I think our next plan is to go. We've been to Air Crash, Timberwolf Mountain. I don't think so. Okay. Let's grab our stuff and go.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Actually, we probably should cook. Should we go or should we cook? Cool. I think we take advantage of the weather and go as far as we can. No, figures. Comes the wind.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
Yeah, so I'm meeting with the professor tomorrow morning to talk about next steps, but I think effectively, in terms of what he wanted me to work on, I've done the part that he wanted me to work on. So I've met the minimum requirements to get the course credit. And with that, should be able to get the course signed off probably by the end of the week. When the course is done, I can file my paperwork for graduation. And supposedly, my boss put in a petition for me to get bumped up to the next pay grade. So I'm waiting for the new offer letter that has the new wage. But that being said, I'm still going to need to pick up some extra work for the fall. I think I'll very quickly need to have some clients, or I'm just going to have to earn more money streaming, which I don't think is going to happen. It's like we used to be able to have 7 or 8, maybe up to 10 or 11 subs. We're down to 3. I think it's just because I'm not streaming during peak times anymore. You know, when I'm streaming these days at this hour, it works for a handful of people, but a lot of people, it's just not really a good time to watch me, so I might have to bring back an afternoon stream. We'll see if I do an afternoon TLD stream, if that is helpful or not. Yeah, well, I heard back from the community center library today, and they gave me the official form letter that says, no, I didn't get the position, so I kind of assumed that would be the case. So yeah, I'm back in the holding pattern, waiting for something better to come along. There's another position that's coming up in September. That might work. But if that one doesn't work, then I still have my current position.
Starting to feel numb.
But yeah, it depends. If they raise my wages
I've
enough,
never felt so cold in my life.
then I'd be under a little bit less pressure. And any additional work I pick up would just simply be to cover incidental costs during the month instead of being worried about covering rent. I can cover rent with what I earn. I guess really when I cover food and recreation. Savings. Actually, what I need to cover is student loan payments. Student loan payments. Which, although in Canada we have a 6-month grace period, the general advice is you pay what you can during those first 6 months. Because if you can make your start early, you're knocking down the principal. So when they start calculating interest on my provincial loans, principal will already be knocked down a bit. So yeah, I have been working with a client for the last 4 weeks. We have one more meeting on Monday. So it's been nice to have a little extra money coming in from that. But we're gonna be finished with his project. And I'll be back to finding more writing coaching work. I might teach a class, I might run a D&D game. Consider that. Running games for Start Playing.
Dusk, so I can't be far behind.
Okay.
Come on, little fire. This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Okay.
Can barely walk with this much gear.
Okay, let's loot this place. Let's see what else is new. I can't remember who recommended this on chat, but I started watching Murderbot, and I have to say it was a very good recommendation. I thoroughly enjoyed the writing on this. Dialogue is
I'm not going to be able
fantastic.
to carry this load for much longer.
Oh, maybe it's the robot's dialogue that's fascinating. Okay. We might be out of panic. Yeah, we need 200 grams and we only have 100. So we're done with that.
All I can think about is food. This pack is getting too heavy to carry. Come on, little fire. Perfect. Oh, I'm starving.
Okay, we're merely looking for saplings at this point.
I'm gonna need to eat soon.
Okay.
Come on, little fire. Come on. I can't feel my feet.
There we go. Good. Missed.
I need to find food.
Yeah, just short. Oh, we just dodged at the last second. Speaking of like new projects and consulting work, I'm having a meeting on Friday with an old friend of mine who is a book editor and now runs a bookstore on the East Coast in the US. But she was recently laid off from her primary editing job. She used to be the publisher and editor for a press that does children's literature, and then it got acquired by another press, and she worked for them for many years, and then recently they decided to downsize. So she is currently looking at the possibilities of adding more editing work.
Stomach feels like an empty pit. I can barely walk with this much gear.
Okay, let's go. Maybe we should take the hide with us. Yeah, let's take the hide with us.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
Well, tomorrow night we don't have D&D because we wrapped up our mini campaign, so we're doing Talisman instead. Board game night. And then we will... I'm trying to decide when to... I think we'll have a couple more one-shots over the summer, the next couple weeks, and then I need to have something ready for fall, like a big campaign idea. But I also need to see if we're sticking with the Wednesday night schedule or not. In my Sunday night group, I also have to see if they want to stay with Sundays or if they want to move to... If Friday night is open, since I'm no longer running the in-person game on Fridays, if it moves to Wednesday, then I can move the Sunday game to Friday. Or I could start a new game on Friday. Yeah, I have had a ton of experience playing the game. We used to play every week for like a couple years. And my friend Alan had all the expansions, so we got a chance to try every single combination. And we had our own sort of challenges that went beyond sort of the game too, where we would do things like we'd each choose the 3 worst characters to start with, and then shuffle them up and deal them out to each other, and that was, whatever we got, we had to choose out of the 3 as our starting character, and if we died, then our replacement character had to come out of the other 2. There are some of the starting characters can be, without certain expansions, pretty useless. Or at least hard to benefit from. They may seem very simple, or they may seem really underwhelming. Or some of them just seem really weak.
God, I did anything.
Or their glass cannons, they're really good until something happens, and then once that thing happens, it's really hard to recover. I did find, on Steam, there's a computer version of Talisman. Not the brand new edition, but the previous edition, which I believe now is free. And that was, a really great way to kind of learn how the different rules interacted, if you were unfamiliar with them. But there's lots of tricks and exploits to the game. Should we go to the bunker, or should we go to Prepper's Cache instead? Guess we could warm up here.
Come on, little fire. Gotta warm up somehow.
I don't like this. I think we're probably going to be stuck here. No, we don't have to be stuck here. We can go. There's enough time. Or not. Okay. Too windy. I think we're out of luck.
Did I say I hate being cold? Because I really do.
I think it's just too windy. Here goes our torch.
Damn, I'm freezing.
Man, this fire went out too. It feels like 18. Much better than before.
If I don't get some food soon.
Okay. Okay, just got rid of another bot. No.
I'm starving.
Now we're officially cold. So we lost our last run, staying in the cave, and the blizzard's going. Nope. Can't stay. Definitely have to go. I think we'll try to find the basement.
My fingers feel numb.
Oh, the other option would be to go to the bunker. That might be easier.
Oh, so cold.
Oh, we messed up. We didn't find the right path. No, this is not.
We gotta eat soon.
Oh, we found it. Okay. Perfect. Oof. Got lucky.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Bed. Nothing. Nothing.
Damn it.
Okay. So we're officially on day 36. Still alive. We're 3 days away from beating our record.
I can barely walk with this much gear. Come on, little fire. Come on. Perfect.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
I'm not traveling in that.
I think my stomach is eating itself.
Okay, finally.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Okay, off we go. Okay. Let's find out if the detective solved the clue. Okay, well, find out soon. Okay, let's crest this hill and then we'll read. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's read from the Maltese Falcon. Let's see, what do I need to pull up here? Okay, let's see. We read the first page of chapter 2 last time, so we are in continuing chapter 2. Where Bush Street roofed Stockton before slipping downhill to Chinatown, Spade paid his fare and left the taxicab. San Francisco's night fog, thin, clammy, and penetrant, blurred the street. A few yards from where Spade had dismissed the taxicab, a small group of men stood, looking up an alley. Two women stood with a man on the other side of Bush Street, looking at the alley. There were faces at windows. Spade crossed the sidewalk between the iron-railed hatchways that opened above bare, ugly stairs, went to the parapet, and resting his hands on the damp coping, looked down into Stockton Street. An automobile popped out of the tunnel beneath him with a roaring swish as if it had been blown out and ran away. Not far from the tunnel's mouth, a man was hunkered on his heels before a billboard that held advertisements of a moving picture and a gasoline across the front of a gap between two store buildings. The hunkered man's head was bent almost to the sidewalk so he could look under the billboard. A hand flat on the paving, a hand clenched on the billboard's green frame, held him in this grotesque position. Two other men stood awkwardly together at one end of the billboard, peeping through the few inches of space between it and the building at the end. The building at the other end had a blank gray sidewalk that looked down on the lot behind the billboard. Lights flickered on the sidewall, and the shadows of men moving among lights. Spade turned from the parapet and walked up Bush Street to the alley where the men were grouped. A uniformed policeman chewing gum under an enameled sign that said Burritt Street in white against dark blue put out an arm and asked, "What do you want here?" "I'm Sam Spade. Tom Polhouse called me." "Sure you are." Policeman's arm went down. "I didn't know you at first." "Well, they're back there." He jerked a thumb over his shoulder. "Bad business." "Bad enough," Spade agreed and went up the alley. Halfway up it, not far from the entrance, a dark ambulance stood. Behind the ambulance to the left, the alley was bounded by a waist-high fence, horizontal strips of rough boarding. From the fence, dark ground fell away steeply to the billboard on Stockton Street below. A 10-foot length of the fence's top rail had been torn from the post at one end and hung dangling from the other. 15 feet down the slope, a flat boulder stuck out. In the notch between the boulder and slope, Miles Archer lay on his back. 2 men stood over him. One of them held the beam of an electric torch on the dead man. Other men with lights moved up and down the slope. End of the next page. So stop there. Okay, so inching forward into the long noir, Maltese Falcon. Hey, so we're gonna loot this place, hopefully without a bear.
Jeez, this is cold. I think I can use this.
What are we looking for? I think a better coat. And maybe another pair of combat pants. You don't really need that much.
This stuff will come in handy.
I'll skip that one. Okay. Do we have anything that's warm? No. No. That was a big fail. Big fail. Don't know if we can fix that. No, we can't. Big fail. Oops.
This will come in handy. Hope nobody needs this anymore.
Okay.
take it.
No. Skip it. I'm really hoping we're headed the right way. I feel like we're on track to go into the point of this point of contention. What was it called? Anyways, wrong place. Ugh, this is bad. I can't tell where we are. can't find any of my landmarks. Hey, welcome back, Monado. Yeah, we're in a bad spot right now. It's all foggy. We're operating without matches. And I am not exactly certain where I am. So I think I'm gonna have to waste my flare over here. Unfortunately, I just don't have any other options. I'm gonna freeze to death if I don't do something, so. I think we'll do this. Yeah, the tsunami. I'm too far inland to really worry about that, but it'll probably, if it does hit, it will impact a lot of people in the university.
Perfect.
20 minutes from Honolulu, yeah, that's close. Yeah, 8.7 is big. That is a very big. Okay, let's see if we can wait out this fog. Okay, we got visibility again. Good news.
Where can I find something to eat?
Yeah, I'm hoping that's not the case. But where are we? Okay, here we go. Yeah, now you've made me curious about what the latest is on that. So let's see. Small tsunami expected to hit BC after 8.7 quake off of Russia. Vancouver Island. Waves less than 30 centimeters. So yeah. So big earthquake, but by the time it gets to us, it's going to be pretty small. But yeah, one of these days we won't be lucky. Yep. Yeah, spooked so easily. That's annoying.
Come on, little fire. Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Did they go to bed? Oh, they. We're always spooked. And it should be enough to get us through the night. I wonder if we're louder because we're heavy. I wonder if I were underweight, would I be quieter and be able to sneak up closer? Whew. You know how I was just saying that I should be looking for some new clients? I just got an email from someone that I don't know if it's going to turn into a client or not, but kind of a query to see if I'm interested in meeting. Of course, one red flag is that they're looking for an agent for poetry, and I'm like, yeah. Not going to find an agent for poetry. Agents only represent work where there's a percentage that they can make money off of. A percentage of a publication in a journal, or a percentage of 25 copies of a book, or even a percentage of $2,500, you know, $2,000. 50% of that? Not worth it. 15% of it? Definitely not worth it. Yeah. Okay, what we should do is we need to start a fire. Boil lots more water, stockpile water.
Come on, little fire.
Okay.
Feels like night is coming.
Okay, let's make some arrows. Okay. We're gonna go into the bunker here and rest. And
so
probably wrap
hungry.
up the stream here too.
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Let's see here.
I think I can use this.
Okay, let's take care of what we need to do. Okay, much better.
I'm gonna need to eat soon.
Okay.
God, I need a horse.
Okay, so this. Okay, this. Kind of works. Kind of works as an outfit.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
Okay, let's get our torch lit, and we'll drop back into the bunker to save our save. Okay, so we're officially on day 37. 2 more days and we'll beat our record. Okay. It is. We killed another rabbit. Okay. Yeah, let's read something to finish up. What shall we read tonight? I mean, we could do that one. It's from my first book of poetry from Lost Country of Sight, published by Henry Press in 2008. Yeah, we can read this one. Okay. The Mortician's Bookkeeper. You arrive early to work, clothed in a careful black, which you peel off layer by layer till white-sleeved and tieless you descend into the stacks, crunch numbers until dawn, until the sun slips through the back door. When things are slow, you too might slip into a crowd of strangers, fill an otherwise empty room, or watch a casket burn in the brick oven. Sometimes you help the dead dress, comb back a loose hair, close an eye, add color to their drying lips. Some are so light you could lift them with a hand placed under the neck, another arm stretched out to gather the body at the knees and walk like a mother with a sleepless child in a slow circle by the window light, or the way a man with calloused hands might carry his new bride up a long, dark flight of stairs. So I think I've told this story before about how I was at some sort of singles mixer one time, and I happened to strike up the conversation with this girl next to me, and I asked, as one is wont to do, what kind of work she was involved with. What did she do? And she said, I work as a mortician's bookkeeper. I was like, what? And she said, yeah, I mean, it's kind of an odd job, but, it's steady. It's like, okay. And then she told me a little bit about like how in some funeral homes you don't have often, not often, but occasionally you'll have funerals for people who have no family or loved ones left, or no one shows up. And so rather than have the casket or the body be cremated, and have like no service whatsoever, they hold a service with just the funeral staff there. So there's at least someone there to witness their transition. And I thought that was like oddly moving, that there's no one that's asking them to do that. They just choose to be there. And so I started to imagine, this character, and thinking about the type of unexpected tenderness that comes into these spaces that we don't usually think about. So, anyways, the mortician's bookkeeper. Let's see, do we want anything else tonight? I think I might just call it there. I really need to buckle down and send out those remaining poems for the letters to the unknown wife and some other material that's been just sitting around that I haven't sent out. So I need to do that. But so we'll have some more poems to read, not just circling over the same ones we always read. But yeah, and then I have a whole bunch of like things that are started but not finished that I really need to spend time working on. So hopefully I get some more time in the coming months to do that. Or I just need to buckle down and carve out time, make a schedule for myself week to week. Let's figure out who we can go visit. Who should we raid? Okay, so let's see. Potown is learning to lope again. Davy is up. We'll visit Potown. Let's check on Poe. Yeah, so let's raid Poe. Okay, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I'm going to get this raid going in a second. Appreciate all of you hanging out with me. And we'll see you all on Thursday night. Till then, take care.